right, folks, let's get right to it on a Thursday. How's everybody doing? Settle in, come on in. Let's talk about some major developments. Our really last show of the summer, because I consider once we're out of August, market season's back in full flavor. So, hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're having an enjoyable summer. Getting back to it. Great to see everybody. Come on in, folks. Hit the like, hit subscribe if you enjoy what's going on here. We are a little late today, but Tuesday, Thursday, 12:30, we come in, we talk harmonic patterns, we talk major crypto, major markets. Let's just dive right in on Bitcoin and catch up with what's happened in the last 48 hours. How's it coming together relative to everything we've been talking about, which is 111, 111, and we're responding off of that 111 level. 4-hour time frame. We have confirmation here. Bullish dot. Let me just even clean it up. Remove all of our extra lines. We don't even need moving averages or VWAPs or anything like that. Let's just do patterns and lines and levels and framework. Looks like this. That's a little better. Just coming out of this multiple pattern zone here. Let's just kind of recount what's going on. What's going on? Absolutely. What's going on, chat? More people coming in. Great to see you. Great. Yeah, a little late today, but hope you guys had some lunch and then we get to it. But this is what we've been talking about for a while. We have a couple of back-to-back pattern situations. The deep crab from the beginning of the month, we did the reaction looping all the way back for the retest. So bullish crab, bullish shark. The crab's completed. Now, the other thing that I've talked about since July was this crab pattern at 123, and we came so close to target 1, didn't hit it beginning of the month. Now we did. A little confusing, but at least we know how critical 111 is. I can't believe what I'm hearing out there in the crypto sphere, that some people are even talking that the top is in on Bitcoin, and we're going back to like 94K or 78K. I mean, I'm hearing numbers, crazy numbers. That's probably a good thing. I only say 111, guys. 111. That's kind of the beauty of what we do, and really, what's the value add here? Why listen to Harmonic Pattern Show versus any other XYZ moving average crypto show? The levels. And so I'm always serving up definitive levels, and the level of the week is 111. And it's responding. Where are we going? Well, let's just take it conservatively, and we go shark to 50 up to 118. Currently 112, 775 at the moment, 760. Not bad. Also, a couple of other patterns to go back retest anyway. And I frame it out like this. You guys know I'm all about the harmonic pattern framework. I'm also all about measuring everything possible to have a clear understanding of what the trading level is, the trading framework. What are the limits? What can we expect? I think we can expect the following. We're in this consolidation rectangle, and I will call myself out until we break out to new highs. Yeah, I was looking for moon phase. I really thought we were busting 123K. And I still say above 123K is full on acceleration. Maybe they just want to take it until September. Let's see. But I'm really fine with 111K. 111K is like 95K earlier in the summer. So bear with it. I mean, we're all looking for that crazy moon phase. The thing about the crazy moon phase, guys, is that it's going to come and it's going to go through do its move, and then it's going to be over. And so time is of critical importance going forward. Where you are now, I mean, seriously, what everyone's kind of anticipating is just a longer term continuation of what really the 4 hour has been showing us all along, of just stair stepping up and then bang and then a 1618 and then back to like a 618 and then another 1618. And that's really what I'm thinking is this. That's what 111K is to me. You want to talk about harmonic pattern framework, and what should be happening here is acceleration, continued confirmation at higher levels of bullish oversold readings. We have all of that. And then when we do this stuff and we go down and we come for the retest, we blow through, we go 1618 expansions, down again, 1618 expansions. I'm just trying to train your eyeballs on how to look at these market movements so that you have an expectation. You have a realistic model of what's possible. It's not going to track it exactly every time, but when you begin to realize that that's the growth spiral nature, and it's represented best by proportional ratios, then we understand when we have a 10% correction, we're not freaking out like, oh, it's the end of the bull run and, throw in the towel kind of a thing. No, it's a typical 10% correction, like the last 10% corrections in the last 90 days. And that we just continue. We do that. That's a part of the natural growth process. You get overextended, you come back, correct 10%, you'd start it all over again. I mean, again, remember where we were a year ago, guys? Who remembers that? Who remembers the big shakeout? Let's go back a year ago and let's, how scared people were at Bitcoin 50, 60K. And then the breakout at 72, 75. Whoa. Well, I'll tell you what. I was saying all last summer, the second we break above these kind of the principal resistance there, 75K. For me, it was like 68. But the second we got there, we knew that acceleration was happening. You had a few dips, but it really was just noise within the whole process of that next stage. So within that next stage, okay, true price discovery, this is the beginning of true price discovery. Go back a year ago, and then look at all the gyrations. We knew that was price discovery. Trump wins. We go mad acceleration, but we still have a massive retracement. That was up at the top. That was like 108, 109. The bottom here was 74. Quick, do the math. $35,000 off the top. $35,000 off the top, guys. That's a substantial 382, 38.2% correction almost. So we're still going to have them, and I'm looking higher, but I just want everyone to know that the 10% correction in all of these moves, and we've seen two of them in the last 2 months, is normal behavior, especially for crypto. And then your 30 to 40% corrections, no matter where they come, still normal and still in an uptrend. That's the model. That's the general framework of expectations. So not surprised, we're on the downside of that here on one of these 10% corrections, ready to set up for that next move. And again, I showed you where I really was talking all the way back here that this was the beginning of price discovery for the cycle, true price discovery. Even though we had cracked all-time highs, it was over here. Uh, I'm going to say that now I've been saying 115 all along was the breakout level of real price acceleration. I'll move it to whatever, whatever the next breakout is here. I think we're already there. Let me give you a clearer chart. There you go. I think we've already started. We're just having a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a retracement pullback, which is here, which is again 111 for me, guys. Everything I do should be it. And within the daily time frame for Bitcoin, what is it? Clearly, it's a failed shark. The daily shark had a reaction, counter bullish HSI, sends it back up. We do have confirmation here at 118, but what happens? Another retracement move for Bitcoin. Right back to 111K. That's it. That's it on for Bitcoin. Okay? For me, this is just a natural pause, retracement, and then we'll get through it. And it's very similar to what we went through. Maybe not even as dramatic. I equate it more like to where we were back in early October, even September, something like that. We're down here. We're making progress. We're looking for this kind of a move here. Just resistance against the prior highs. Consolidate, get ready for that continuation thrust. Yep. I mean, that's where we are. A lot of noise in between. What are you guys looking at? Great to see everybody. What's going on? Dreska, Steven, MMC, Carthago, LC, Strategic, Justin, Mr. Stacks wants to look at Ondo. Neil wants to look at AVAX, Sui, and Soul. What up? Thank you, David. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Who's Holy Earth? What in the world is this? Holy Earth. Amen. Well, this is Harmonic Pattern Podcast number 444. So, welcome. We talk harmonic patterns here. Crypto, major markets, even individual stuff. Hold it. Lost you guys. Let's come back. Let's quickly look at Ethereum before we jump into some of those individual shills. If you want to shill some symbols, and then we'll get to Nvidia. Not a biggie, really, for Nvidia. We'll talk about it. Ethereum, guys, just recently getting overextended, but I'm not really too concerned about this. It's been such a massive move since the June lows. I mean, go back to April, sure, but really it's since that June low, which was the higher level of confirmation. All right, definitely, I'm absolutely kicking myself with the whole Ethereum thing. We caught all the major top 10 markets, I think, except for this one. I won't miss it. And what I'm looking at is just this to finish the confirmation of resistance at 47.09. We're right at all-time new highs. Right there. We're not smashing. We go back here. There's the all-time chart. So get a little perspective. I mean, we're banging up here. I still do expect a retracement, as I don't think it's quite ready to bust through. We really would have, if you're going to break through that all-time high like that, you're going to smash resistance. You should be doing Hulk smash through that top. And it's not. That was last week. We were there for a second and they came back down. If we're going to connect dots, guys, we're still looking at like this kind of a move. X, to A to B, which is B.786 within the tolerance. There's your C point. Amazing. So that's the plan. That has always been the plan for Ethereum. I was skeptical. We said 6K because of this XABCD alignment. Also, the last correction that should be a 1618. That's fine. I can't offer you anything until I see something develop. Like a type 2, you break it down to the 4-hour chart. What's that look like? Where's the last pattern completed? It's a bullish bat pattern at 42. What do we know about it, though? It's a type 1, just a reaction. T1, that means type 1 reaction. Take it to target. 42.37 is your XA. It hit the hop. Perfectly. It's a sloppy pattern right off the top, but still holding support. More like 4,200 is the level. But as we know, with crypto, they love to go to these target 2s. I prefer to take it to the dot, which was all the way at 48. But look, dot, lower dot, another lower dot. So we're not ready to completely destroy prior resistance yet. And I would even say maybe can we get a type 2 back to 42.37? Confirm it. That's a better launch point than just trying to say, all right, Ethereum's just going to go. So I'm willing to do whatever and get in wherever and just, deal with the consequences. No, let's be a little more strategic. 42.37, guys. Type 2. Yeah. Yeah, we can look at CRV and CRO we talked about CRO, man, and 3x since then. But there are more. It tells me we're just priming. We're getting ready. One or two more, sure. Great to see you. What's up, Wayne? Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's go. I'll go through these shills, and let's start with the others index. Basically, everything but the top 10, which is when does this larger mania take shape? It's coming. We should be looking for just a springboard of where that can happen. I would say for the others index, the obvious current situation is that we're squeezed. I've talked about this before, where we have just beautiful patterns. Let me clean it up. Look, we're back to back. We're shark. Did the reaction, came back for type 2. It's almost perfect. I would say that was perfect. It's so close. And then right back into inability to get above 300 billion, more resistance. So if you just want a number, look, once others is above $320 billion, yeah, we probably finally break free. This is big resistance, 295 to 315. You're going to have to clear that. I would actually probably be the best thing. Can we get a full type 1, shark to 5.0 down to target 1, and then take off? All right. So far, this retest, return move, it's a dud. 300 billion is capping it for now. But, again, for now. And we break it out to the weekly. I've always said that this chart is just a matter of time. The reason why? Well, multi-year. You go all the way back. And you guys know what I've been saying about trending markets in general. Okay, a lot of crypto doesn't look like this, especially your low floaters that have done nothing. But the overall total others index, taking out the top 10, you cannot argue that in general, even with all the T coins, S coins that are listed within the, above from 11 to 1,000 or whatever, or maybe 11 to 100, I guess. This takes the top 100, I guess, taking out the top 10. This is still a rising allocation story. And pattern wise, we're clearly back to back. Nice to see the bat retracement pattern here, 185. You're essentially looking for this to go back minimum top end of the channel. But it's a longer term, that longer term chart is powerful. Let's put it that way. And I don't think your cycle really gets going until you break out. What's price discovery, right? We talked about true price discovery in Bitcoin. What's price discovery here? We have to break above 400, 450 billion, and then do a larger 1618. Like if we have this pattern, it's like this. The possibility here, minimum for others index, just X, A. Where's your B point? There's your B point. Can we draw out this W formation? Perfect 886. C point all the way down here. Kind of a 618. It's probably best. And then you just throw up the 1618. That should be our end result. If we're just going to go simple price discovery, minimum objective for that others index, 750. It's kind of a double from current levels plus. But if we're going to get the breakout price discovery cycle, that's what you're looking for, and for this to take off. Now, we're seeing individual signs of things starting to pop off. And it kind of reminds me of last year. I don't know. Anyone getting that vibe? Anyone getting the vibe when you see stuff like this? CRO, USD, popping off like this. I've talked about this. Now, that was 38 at the high. It's now 28. I'm not saying go buy it here, but this long-term chart, man, is really perked up, in my opinion, of larger possibilities. This was one that I talked about a long time ago. I said, how could this be, a billion, $2 billion valuation? And we had patterns down here. We had back-to-back bat. The last year, I was long some of this and caught the big move up, and it rolled back on me. I got stopped out. I was probably punching myself because I didn't get out at 20 cents. I think I got out at 14 or something, buying it at 8. And it comes all the way back down. So here you are again. You did the skyrocket move. Are you going to go back to 8? I don't think so, but we can realistically wait for the next HSI oversold, like there or there or there or there. If this is really the development of something larger, then we'll get the next opportunity. But this thing was dead not long ago. When you were back down here in April and you were flatlining here for a while at 8 cents, you could, definitely easily dismiss this. Easily. And then all of a sudden it wakes up, 6 weeks ago? Because some people borrowed a bunch of money, going to start piling into here. Yeah, that probably works. But as a larger story, what is this? We would consider this a price recovery candidate simply because, you're nowhere near all-time highs, but now you're starting to make progress. What is it, X? Is that right? No, that's a 236. What's that? Oh, it's a 382. Almost perfect. That's your 382, and I probably need to get that right. But something like this, that's, an eventual 886, minimum 382 pullback. I wouldn't even worry about it. 382 pullback is Hey, you're almost there. 382 pullback's like 26 cents, 27 cents, already within that little bar. But I think the bigger takeaway is that, hey, this held. It's a higher low, not by much, but it did. Took out the prior high, took out the prior high. Okay, you've got progress. What else looks like this? And I mean, let's line up some higher quality trending candidates that, can we get to the 886? And I think Chainlink is probably prime candidate number one. Chainlink's even further along. Hasn't done what I would think is the bigger move. A lot of similarities, though. Big progress from the 20 cycle up all the way back down for your 886 reset. Consolidate, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Ready? And again, minimum Chainlink. You're hearing a lot about it. And I think the price realization is about to happen where X, A, B, C, D, B point like a 55 level, because that's about 55%, is so close to the Gartley. I would say 886 top end is 47. Maybe it's a little lower with like an ABCD and 786, 42, 43, but it's not 24. It's not 24. So where do we jump on? This is where, again, some of these are further along. A lot of them have patterns. They're ping-ponging. They haven't broken free. But I think we can use this to our advantage. Chainlink, 3 patterns back to back. 10, basically the floor. 23, 24, a resistance. Let's look for the next dot. And I think we have one more dot, and then we're probably done. All right, because look. Couple of bearish dots. I think 24, where we are, 24, 25 for now. Can we get a type 1, back down? If we're going to have this little retrace, go there, target 1, and then take it and run it like that. So right now, a little bit of a pause at that 886 swing off the intermediate bat. Yep. All good, though. There's other ones I want to line up like that. I mean, I want to be lining up things that are in that kind of a position, especially with things that are waking up. A couple of you guys have like Sui for Neil, and Sui is another one of these. Shark to 5-0. Great patterns. All right, 308. Currently 343. I'm watching this one closely because we're at bullish dot support, which is more like 350. Can we tag 308? That would be ideal. And then do the shark to 5-0 kind of a thing. Shark to 5-0 and then go back. And Sui is one of these. There's several of them that I want to really kind of bring to your attention that has price discovery written all over it. Why? We're trending like that. All right, that's phenomenal development. I wish most crypto was like that. Unfortunately, it's not. But this is clearly building. The patterns have been just ping-ponging levels. Bearish shark that did fail. You go to bullish shark. Go to another bearish. It reacts and fails, which is what we want from bearish patterns. Literally from here on out. We're back to embracing the bearish patterns for their reactions. We get a bearish pattern. Let it do its reaction, because once it's finished the reaction, what we're looking for is confirmation and then that return move to explode through. If it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, BNB, whatever, that's the model. So SUI, you're 344 currently. I think this is one of the better ones. Keep it on the radar and get ready to jump. If it gets to 310, that's probably your number. Set the alert. Meanwhile, Avalanche is you know not really trending. It is a recovery creature trying to put in support down here at 16, 15. Prior high. I mean, I was long this last cycle and caught a nice move on that up to the crab pattern and was hoping to jump back on at 36. Never got to target one. It failed through target one. And with what it is, you got to go to the weekly here. At best, your recovery. And I think people are stuck on the performance from last cycle on this. I am, I'm okay with it for now, but I think again there are better opportunities, even with the way everyone talks about this. It's a higher low than before, but it's not trending like here's the one I haven't taken a position even yet, and I'm hoping I get this retracement. But Tron this is powerful, guys. I don't think we're going to get much of a retracement, and once that starts to go, look out. Here it is. You have a crab pattern up here. And I've talked about this. Can we get a retracement off of 35? Because this has been my plan for Tron. Can we get something and then we go again, much like what we had back in June? Not yet, but that's clearly a trending crypto candidate that's unlike most of them. We have others, but most of them don't have extended uptrends like that. What's up, Mr. Stacks? Wants to look at Ondo? It's another one everyone talks about. Ponzi talks about it. I know Mitch has brought that up. And Ondo's, at least we have broken out of the downtrend. And we are at a high level daily bullish HSI retest. The 94 cents. You're right there. I mean, you're literally right there right now. Pretty interesting. I wish we would come back to 75 one more time. I don't think that's going to happen. I think where you are right now at 93, we should be looking for that to turn and to continue from here. And where are you going? Probably back to 123 minimum. Ondo on that weekly chart, it's progressed. It's held, depending on what exchange, of course, but we've held here. The weekly and level there at like 75 cents is a big deal. But you spent the better part of a year after last year's pop just retracing 886 cycle gains. Start again. Maybe sooner than later. There's several of those finance plays. Curve, I know, CRV. People are talking a lot about. And CRV is interesting because of the big patterns. Shark pattern back at 133. Counter, trying to put in a lot of bullish HSI stuff. No doubt this stuff is basing. The problem with a lot of these, when are they going to really trigger the larger pop out of the base? Where you go from where we are now, 80 cents, 75 cents. Can we get to 145 and then really get into some recovery action? We've got to see. A couple others with Neil wants to look at Bitcoin dominance too. Let me circle back to that in a second. Is it a good time to buy Bitcoin now? Asks Mr. Kiss. It depends. What are you looking for? Really, are you going to be able to go through a 10% correction if we see one? Like, let's say we go 112 to 102. Are you going to get hurt by that? Because the bigger notion of everything we're looking at within this window is to be positioning for the October November surge, and then we'll probably be done. I've said this multiple times. I think we'll be done by Thanksgiving. I think the whole thing, the bulk of these moves, like last year, will be over by Thanksgiving. And if that's the case, then things are already starting to happen. You see it in CRO. You guys talked about ARB last time. And where's that? Yeah, and maybe that is starting to move. I don't know. That had a surge, I guess. Hold on. Probably better on the daily chart. Hold on. There it was. ARB is this bat pattern, but really because it doubled, from here. What was it? It was like not too long ago. It was like 30, went to 60. Now starting to basically come out of the hole. And that's what you're looking on a lot of these. Yeah. Couple more. Yes. Sorry, guys. Thoughts on nickel? I'll look at that in a second. You still got ARB. And I think ARB is, you're going to go through this on a percentage basis. This does kind of drive me nuts where you go up, you have a big move. You're a double from 25 to 55. But pattern wise, don't be surprised to see something like this come back on ARB, like 45 cents. And then really explode it. That kind of a thing. There are some other interesting patterns that haven't really seen the kind of move off of the support zones that I think is still possible. And I come back to Ethereum Classic. It's like one of the slowest moving creatures that has so many patterns looking left. And it's a good example, good model. I mean, if this is really going to take off, and the Ethereum craze is going to take hold. Look at Ethereum Classic here. This is super early stages. Type 2 bat pattern. What's the problem with it? The problem with it just hasn't done the move yet. But go here. We're at a 50 test. If we turn back up on Ethereum Classic, we're going to be hitting 30 quickly. So the low end XA level is like 1633. I don't know if we're getting back down there. I would be looking at daily. Anything daily? Green line confirmation around $20. All right. 4-hour level. Any patterns here? A couple. Some back to back. Everything's at $20. I would be looking at $20. I think we're close to, you come back, you kiss it one more time kind of a thing, and you start to make progress. The second you're above 25.50, 26, you're gone. You're definitely gone. You got it. Mitch Ray in the house. What's up, Mitch? What's going on, man? Mitch is saying Google, Apple, Animal Spirit, and Fusion. Let's dive into those in a second for sure. I'm constructive, guys. I think it's almost over. The correction we've been settling through. Guys, FET AI, I think we're maybe time for FET. Maybe. Down here at 60, 64. FET or AIOZ. These are floating down there back in big zones where if they come back to life here, don't be surprised. AIOZ, like right around 34, 32 cents, just building and building. And look, the thought is that this is washout zone, what happened on a lot of those AI coins. You got patterns here, but look at AIOZ. Sitting up here, a couple of patterns back to back. Top level was 22, but your main levels on both those structures is more like 40. So if you're under 40 on AIOZ and we have a trigger at 34 cents, we are right there right now. I'm down on that. I have not brought this up to this degree, saying like that's in the position, guys. AIOZ, 34 cents, book it. Book it. I mean, those are in, that's the kind of setup we should be looking for in all of these. If they're really there, which I think they are, that kind of a move is just waiting to go. I mean, it's like a crypto.com. Come on. Yeah, everybody, give Mitch a big shout out. Mitch Ray, TA, just running the table every night. Great to see you. We already did CRU. Okay. The Ethereum Bitcoin. Well, let's look at that ratio and then we'll segue out. What's the deal about the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio? If you're new here, quick review, Ethereum Bitcoin ratio was a bullish bat pattern on the monthly. All right, let's take it to task on really learning what this is all about. What's so significant about the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio? Well, I've said all along, primarily this is a Bitcoin cycle. Bitcoin needed to get the allocation first, and then the rest of the sector could open up, start to run, get the crumbs, the overspill crumbs from Bitcoin. That has happened. Now, what's so critical that this summer is that we had a massive bullish bat pattern. There was the low in 2020. This is the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. Monthly chart goes up, comes all the way back down, and mind you, really, the cycle started here, right there. And so the cycle, pre-halving cycle, go back to like August 22, whatever, that's really where a lot of this started. And then, okay, we came all the way down, perfect bat pattern on the monthly. That when did Ethereum catch the bid? You know, Ethereum came back to life after completing this ratio, this retracement. It's a massive reset. So what does that mean? Well, we're going to ride this reaction first and foremost. Ride the reaction into a type 1 from there to there. Minimum target 1, 44 point, point 0.04477 or as high as 0.06, which means this should still run. And I would track it, really keep tracking it. On the weekly, a little bit better because you have the same pattern. You have confirmation up here, hitting it right now. It's not official until Sunday, but let's watch it. My thought is this: if we get above target 1, this is where the larger acceleration, where the second phase is probably going to begin. If you get above that 4.4, if we're going to do it now, go target 1 up to target 2. It's not clear yet. Not clear. I'm watching that. This could end up giving you a little reaction retrace, but it's a big deal what's going on here. That's a big deal. And it's a big deal for the first time, I would say, just in the last 30 days. You progressed above the downtrend. making progress, and it has significance for the longer term. Major significance. Like if this is this a big pattern for Ethereum over Bitcoin going forward? I mean, years? Because if you look at the total range here, I mean, that's pretty remarkable. I don't know if that's a bad tick or what, maybe back in 17. But the more realistic highs that are here, it's like 16, 15 from this low. I mean, that's a major sign, guys. Just be aware that that's a major sign quite early, but I would be tracking this ratio going forward. It's probably even more significant than just Bitcoin dominance. And Bitcoin dominance, the only thing we had here is pattern right at 66%. And you want to see that. You want to see that because you want all the other crap coins to run, right? That's the definition of the cycle. Well, there you go. Speaking about running, NASDAQ's popping right now, guys. Up at highs of the day. Let's come back to that in a second. One or two more. You got it. Lino, did you ever get set up? Lino, you need to send me a note. I didn't get a note from you on Discord. Cubic for William. Hey, William, I have to say, I've been looking at Cubic. Did you see that bounced? Cubic? And I think you were the one that was bringing it up to me. This is a big first thrust. All right, but we've got patterns. I wanted to bring this up because it did catch my eye. That this thing, perfect 1 and 2, but now we're oversold again. I would look at that dot here, and that dot literally is being printed today, that if this is going to be the start of something more, start looking tomorrow. And maybe it's a couple more days, but you're looking for this dot to basically finish out the reaction and then soon get the resumption. You're not, I mean, it's a better spot here than trying to fish it down here. But I like that, and I'll hold you accountable for reminding me on that one. And what is the, there you go. It's a little bit better. Yeah. What's up? Nathan wants to look at VET. And so VET, VeChain, what comes to mind is lots of patterns, little action, but I shouldn't be so dismissive of it. I mean, VeChain's, other than the first move we talked about last year, we were there. I was long a lot of this last year, right at like 2.5, and it went up, formed the pattern, came right back down, so it was not much to net. But you're here again, so somewhere around 2.2 to go back to like 8. I'm trying to find a floor there. If this is going to pop off, we're going to get into this window here. At least VET has held lows, steadily progressing. I do think this has got a lot of the similar qualities of CRO. And getting eventually to a target 1 at 11.8, you might be in it for a long time. But that looks like we could get there with some kind of blast off of the low. I mean, again, don't over-allocate. Just maybe get in there with whatever, a certain amount. Okay, let me just explain to you guys how my opinion on some of these crypto plays have changed, shifted. I would usually look at that and be like, all right, give me 1 million of these. Because if someday it goes to $1, bang. What's 1 million? 20 something grand, 24, 25 grand or whatever. But now I'm like, it's crypto. These screw around. Maybe go half of that. Or maybe just like, if I'm looking for plays and want to have a couple lines in the water, all right, maybe go a third of that. Maybe get 100,000 of this or something like that. You know, 100,000, a couple $1,000 into it. Just the way I would think about it, or maybe 5K or something into it, and be willing to sit on it no matter what. We know we're at low end of support. And I'm not playing for like from 2 cents to 4 cents. I'm playing from like 2 to 10 or 11 minimum. So until that happen, hold it out. Similar, the CRO thing is like, it's the same deal. But CRO, I think you're looking for more. We got this delayed thing going on with crypto, but the time is due. Yeah, you got it. Why so, William? You got to send me something on what's so big about Cubic, because you've been bringing it up for months. LCX, yeah, not bad. I mean, you're down here. What's the beauty of these charts with crypto? We know the cycle is going to be realized. The self-fulfilling cycle's coming. LCX, I mean, you're sitting here again. Another one. You're at support. That green line, that's oversold. HSI support at 11. I mean, maybe worth a shot. Really no pattern there. What about a 4-hour chart? You had something down there, what, a month ago? That pattern. I would, look for weekly, daily oversolds. Look for patterns on 4-hour charts. All right? How to get it? Oh, guys, come on, get over here. I didn't even mention this. Listen, get with this software that we're running through charts. Send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. Get with it. Also, I needed to bring this up. Our session, our Think 2026 session, will be Wednesday. It's not going to be Monday. Monday's going to be a holiday. Labor Day, it'll be Wednesday. So if you want to attend that, all right, you got to hook up with me over on the Discord. And you get on the Discord by hitting the following link into the chat. Send me a DM. Also, I'm willing to give away a 30-day package right now to the next person that types in HPC 30. We'll give you 30 days software, 30 days gold, thread, Discord, 30% off even. And you come to the session on Wednesday, September 3rd, 10 a.m. I think it's even better, a couple of days after Labor Day, because then the whole window of when crypto is going to move will be a lot closer. I mean, again, guys, we're talking in the next 30 days, this thing should be starting to rage. Okay, one or two more. You got that. The Switch guy, you win. You got to hook up with me on the Discord. There's the link in the chat. You got it. Couple more. Yeah, the Switch guy, you win. I'll give away one more before we get out of here. Okay, Warren Chu wants to look at Coty. And Coty's one of those names. Coty and the Graph and Algo, all those ones that haven't done anything. Are they going to, how do we separate which ones are going to actually do something versus what's garbage? And there's Coty. Do you have the software, Mr. Chu? Because that's a great pick. And if anything, I would think we're there for a dot, like 5 cents. Yeah, but this was another one, though. We're all the way back at lows. Last year, he went from 7 to 18 and then all the way back down. So this is the issue with these kind of plays. I mean, we're at all-time new lows. Not trending. Not trending. So, if you wanted to and you're speculating on some kind of a pop, that might happen. I would be looking for trending situations that are, a little further along. Yeah, you got that. What's CRU? Not CRO? All right, I'll look. You keep on banging it. Crust Network. I have no idea if it's gone crazy. No, there's nothing going on there. Why would you even bring this up? I mean, someone's who's got that? The Denanderleys Crypto Group. You're probably here to shill it, right? I would say you're probably, going to have to go through a lot more. T1, T2 was good. First one was good for a penny. Next one was for a penny and a half, and you're right back down. Yeah, this is not trending, and you might hit a home run. Maybe there's something going on here. I don't know, but clearly not trending. And even to get a recovery, again, I mean, you don't want to get stuck into something that then becomes a dead crypto asset that doesn't move. Believe me, I've been there. It's not what you want. I will say this, of the stuff that's intriguing, new stuff popping up, I have to say that like some of the AI coins, where is it? Ocean or Stacks. These have set up some things recently. Stacks is here, 28 cents. I said AIOZ. It doesn't look like they're doing major things, but you're at levels trying to stabilize early in development, but promising. Where is the other one? Stacks was the one. Stacks was the other one. Stacks, STX. Scraping some support, lots of patterns down here. My point's this: if you were going to go for some kind of recovery play that is 70%, 80%, maybe it's something like this, and you can't even see it with all that over it and stuff written over it, but it's like this. There's a pattern back here at 75, consolidation. Look for 54. I mean 65 currently, but you got some patterns down there. A little bit different than a lot of these others that have nothing. No, you can't do that. Again, I'm going to call it out as it is. Not recovery. Someone wanted to look at Solana. I didn't bring that up earlier. Guys, 227.35. It just continues until we hit 227.35. And this is better because we had the type 1 and we've progressed. We've broken out 210 currently. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Right there. 227. Are we going to get more than that? You'd have to see it 227. But it's progressing and that recovery, all right. That is sizable. And I know some people are not really happy with Solana. A lot of FUD out there. I'll just take it to target. Take it back to the XA level. Yeah. All right, that'll be the last one though. Here, Cardano. I'll give away another 30-day in a second. Cardano, guys, is just another one. Just coiling up, coiling up. You have to break it to a 4-hour chart to get real clarity and trade it dot to dot. Again, get the software. Only the software is going to have the dots where, all right, what's the last dot? It's like here. All right, now there, type 1. Ugly crab pattern here, but stopped at dot to dot. Now we're here like 85 cents, maybe as low as 81. But what you're looking for, it's a lot like Bitcoin. All right. Surge up, retracement, consolidate, go again. And that's what it looks like it's going on here. Can we get that move from 85? 92 is a big number. I Do think we're going to bang on that a few times on Cardano. And the 4-hour chart, phew, since that summer low, don't even get me started. You're up here, knock on 92 a couple of times. 92.35 is the number on the 4-hour chart. I think we're ready. It's either 85 or it's 81, but you're just coiling up here to make that next surge. I like it though. I mean, we have to be there. Have to be there for the cycle. All right, let's jump quickly. NASDAQ. Mitch was saying Google and Apple with some animal spirits. And let's start with NASDAQ because we finally broke out of some time frame restrictions here. You go all the way back to the 21st. We have been sideways. Today, all right, making the move back up. That's what we wanted to see all along. Look, regular trading, RTH. If we're going dot to dot, what's the last dot? It was down here a week ago. Now back up, targeting like 23,950. Currently 766. It's up. The trend is up. 5-minute chart. I said this in my crew this morning that 826 is probably our hop target. Is a target for the day. It's what it is. We had this pattern all the way back last Friday. It was a bat pattern. Almost perfect type 1. Just failed it, but could not generate a T1. Sends it back into the zone. We've just been zigzagging up here. The hop level 826. I think that's a reasonable target. That's 50 higher from current levels. And I want to show you guys something that in all of the noise, I get frustrated. And a lot of times I just have to take a walk. I've really been digging deep on, okay, give me some definitive signals, different chart types. And I'm really liking Heiken Ashi candlesticks with the dots for short-term moves. And 30-second time frames, great. 5-minute time frames, great. And especially with the patterns. And this is from today. Just wanted to show you guys this kind of thing where we get setups. You get patterns like, get like a crab pattern. Great crab pattern. But then it's just a dud. How do you know? We typically get these quick oversold readings. You go from 23,720 back to 23,698, and that's about it. That's where the dots, in my opinion, have been helping me on 30-second time frame. The 5-minute, even better. There you go. Like this. And then a lot of the initial dot reactions that we get, even with the failures, the easiest way to do is just run it down till we get a 3-bar breakout, even a green candle. This last one that we had, that last dot signal, what was that? It was 1 o'clock, 45 minutes ago. Pause reaction and then send it back up. One of the ways to know, really with the signal, is it a reaction? Is it something more? I'm thinking something like that is more. So check that out. Get with the software. I know a lot of people are new. I've got a lot of questions like, okay, what's the dot mean? It's a complementary signal reading with the patterns, flat out. I'm looking at ways to really exploit it more so with even just, certain intraday swing setups. Again, market's been really quiet this week. I expect that to basically get going again on Tuesday. But that's NASDAQ. The bigger picture with NASDAQ is still all about this hop level. Now, I mentioned this last time. The 23.6, what is that? That's the overspill kind of maximum resistance zone. And what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Because ever since we hit this initial completion, which is back here, that was May, we have just ignored it, gone through, got a counter bullish signal back in June, which is what we talked about. We were saying 23.6 down here when that failure happened. And now we have another one. So this kind of adds to the argument, guys, that this is a high level continuation. And we have a dot, a bullish dot on the daily. Now, yeah, this is Heiken Ashi chart, which I think makes it even better. But you're looking for this not only bust out, we want to close above 23.6, but we're then looking for a run to retest all-time new highs. Not later, now. Not later, now. Okay, and here's the regular candle. The regular candles, we actually generated this. I talked about it on Tuesday. So with our regular candle formation, we had the HSI continuation. How's it doing? Nice continuation. Today's day 5. Day 4 post. Day 5 with including the signal. That's a continuation, guys. So look for it now, not later. People are talking about, a September retracement. I'm not there. If anything, I think people are going to be surprised when they see this kind of development and you take it higher. You know the targets. Mitch was saying that Apple and Google were looking particularly good. And yeah, Apple absolutely ready to make that full run 886, which is like 250. We never got the full type 2, which was a shame, which was 185. We didn't get there. I agree, though, that Google is probably up there in terms of being the most impressive. And what was it? Was this. Look, we had a butterfly at the beginning of the year at 205. It sent it all the way down to 140, 145. That was it. Full return move. Now at 212. That was a couple days ago, right there. But what do we need up here? Confirmation. And there's nothing. I mean, Google is in a strong position to do a move that goes, I think, stronger price recovery or discovery than what we've seen. It's been a laggard of all the ones that bottomed in 2022. Google's probably one of the most underperforming, and now up at the end of that channel. 212 is the number. Okay, just hit that. Are we going to do more? Because there's your monthly. I mean, that's amazing. Look at that. That's amazing. There's your monthly chart. Looking to do things. And I would, like the rest of them, go 1618 to 1902 from the 2022 corrections, like that. There to there. 1618 is there. Is like 195. And then where's 1902? 1902 is like right there. 212. Are we about to demolish this channel? That's the question. It's really above 212 for Google. And do we go and do bigger, much bigger things? That is super strong. That's a blow through. That's really trying to blow out the prior high. I agree with that. I mean, Google, talk about, it's got everything. It's trending, strong action, just impressive, historic, higher lows, higher highs. That doesn't stop. Let's see here. Anyway, so yo, Mr. Crypto Group, we're gonna have to chill, please. I appreciate commentary in the chat, but let's just keep it to a lower. Uh, with all the shilling of whatever you got there. A lot of time, seriously, man. I'm gonna have to chill. I'm gonna have to chill you, mute you. Okay. I'm usually looking at the charts riffing, so sometimes people will come in and I won't see them for 5 minutes because I'm so focused on looking at price action. Regardless, Google 212. Beyond that, that's where it breaks like conventional wisdom, and that you go new cycle, but that probably starts next month. I'm man, I like that setup though. I appreciate it. Doc, you're okay. I hear you. Well, chill then. If you overtrade and you know it, you got to chill. Seriously. If you're overtrading and you can't stop, then just send me the money or donate the money to the local guy on the corner. Mr. Fisher, what's going on? Let's look at NVIDIA 180. What's the number? 195. NVIDIA was a non-event, guys. And NVIDIA is like this. 1618 minimum. We're into that expansion price discovery move. That's 195. That has been my target all along with a 1902 overspill, which is like 215. And we're not even worried about it. Look, NVIDIA is another example. I know it's a $4.5 trillion entity and people are freaking out just because of that. But it's not a thing. You're not really concerned about market cap when they're dominating the way that they're dominating. Nobody else has quite what they're offering, and so people get caught up into extensive market cap. It's all about the trend. That trend continues. That trend continues up until well above the 215 level. It's just another 1618 expansion. These are minimum objectives. Now, Broadcom is the one I probably at this point has even larger upside. And I've saying this all along. Okay, it's 1618, almost there. And look at it like this. Broadcom 1618 is 325, I think. Yeah, about 325. That's minimum. We're in our price expansion currently. But I'm thinking more like 3618 from that 2020, the April, this correction. 2025 down to the low in April. And then you go 3618. Minimum is 2618. And we're going to continue to do this. Size up these crazy breakout moves. All right, to basically gauge when does the real acceleration happen. I mean, this is great progress, but acceleration goes from there to there. Above 330, above 350, then you make the minimum runs to 2618. This is like Bitcoin. This is exactly like Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is here, if that's Bitcoin like I don't know, Bitcoin at like 95K before it goes to 115 or above 115. But I still like it. And I still say that the SOX is how this all goes higher, guys. Of all the tech, yeah, you got the Mag 7 and everything, but inside of all of this, what's really running it is the SOX. And so we want to watch the SOX 58.50 now, get above 61.45, and this is how NASDAQ gets to the 26.5 target. NASDAQ My top side target is 26,500 into next year. How does it get there? By getting led by the semiconductors. And I mean a real blow through here over the next couple of months. 61.45 and then accelerate, because then that becomes, this whole setup on the monthly becomes a failed pattern. New cycle takes hold and we do it again. You're here, go up 1618, it was a little bit more. Come on back. It did a 618 retracement almost perfectly. And then another 1618. That's like 7,500. That's where it's going. Build your argument. If you can be able to kind of trace it out like that and then build your argument, that's how we get there. Couple more. It's all good, man. Hey, all good. I just, I'm not, I can't monitor the chat as much as I don't monitor the chat. So when I see a lot of shill, but it's all good. It's not shill. Yeah, no doubt. That's great. I think you want to continue these. Broadcom. Yeah, Broadcom is a winner and it just keeps going. It's like Nvidia a year or two ago. A couple others. Gold. Sure, Joe. We'll get that in a second. Before we do, let's look at the Russell. The Russell, like this, it's a big pattern. Big shark. Go back for the retest. Now, this is an interesting situation because if we're really in a bull market, then the Russells should go to all-time new highs and then break out. That's really what you're looking for. And same, like S&P 500 did that. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up there looking to do this. The Russell's like this on the return move. Again, the whole thing explodes. You'll see breadth widen out. Markets accelerate when you fail that hop. When? And this is 4 years, guys. I mean, this is impressively impressive in terms of the fact that you're 4 years sideways on a broader index. And I do think we will fail it on the next test. But once you do that, right, you're kind of into a new paradigm. Much broader market, much broader kind of participation in what's happening. And look at the Dow. And then I'll get to gold. But look, the Dow is the same deal. We have massive patterns all over the place. All right, but what is it lacking? It's lacking confirmation. Look, the crab pattern that was the perfect 1 and then 2 is now at the hop at 45,658. That is insane. And last week, the high was 757. Still no confirmation. And look, again, get the software. Why? Because it's going to show you. The indicators are only available on Harmonic Pattern Collection. But look, we are firmly above 50. Haven't rolled over. And then what happened last week? A recovery after testing at the 50 line. That goes back up. So these are still pointing up. You're coming into September, October. Where are you? Rallying, new highs, no confirmation, not even in sight. Can you get the 1618 up to 49.50K? I think so. I really think so. I really am not. I'm looking at all of this and saying, all right, I'm not worried about the retest until I saw some larger confirmation, some kind of individual price action. There's no reason for any of us to look at what's happening currently and say, all right, is this the end of the long-term trend? Or are we about to go for, into a new leg or a continuation? I'll take continuation. I'll take continuation up here. One or two more. Oh, the gold thing. All right, here's the gold deal. Gold, we have talked about that, especially with the character of what's happening. Gold's almost back at 3,500. Amazing. 3360 is the all-time 2618, like this. There's a couple of numbers. First, we're dealing with the immediate retracement, not immediate, but the last retracement, which was 2009. You're there. The 1618 was like 3,100. The 1902 is like there at 30. What is it? 3450, like that. All right, we're just pausing. Just pausing. The larger cycle, you go all the way back here, just throw up some expansions here. Your 1618 is there. It's like 3,000. 1902, all in the same area. Okay, so there's reasons why. We're at kind of the maximum extensions before we go crazy, before we go acceleration. Not necessarily crazy, but character changes above this level. Just be aware of that. Let's circle back to the daily time frame now. All right, we're in the consolidation. We have a few things here. On the daily, we have this, on the futures, it's got a crab pattern. What's happening though? It's failing, which is amazing because it does not want to go down. The last HSI there and there, both of them haven't even been close to getting retested. I just think we're going to continue to hold this high level, and we will then begin the march to above 4,000. It's like this. There to there. And it's just pause it, hang out. We could do that for another 6 weeks. But remember, November is the seasonal time. November, as we get into later September, October, I think this resolves itself. We go higher, and we start to make the run for the other retracements, which is namely like this. Hold on. And I don't know why I'm missing something here with XABCD, but look, there's the 314 off of the last daily correction is here, is like 36. The 2618 is there. That's the 3350. That's a pause. It's like this. 314, like 36, but we're gunning for this to be a 3618 expansion, like 3,800. It is setting up for this run to go to 4,000, guys, without a doubt. That here, I've been saying that all along. Sideways at 3350, great. Longer that holds up, great. Breakout 3,500, 3,600. That's when the acceleration just doesn't look back. Pretty remarkable chart. I mean, there's nothing to get too concerned about in terms of gold pausing here. That's about it. When's the continuation occur? Probably in another month or two. You're up here, yeah, monthly dot. It's a monthly dot, but it's not doing anything. That's been the thing I've noticed. The longer it stays up there and goes sideways, the better. And that's good for gold. That's good for anything, any asset that is looking to store value. If it's gold, if it's Bitcoin, that's a positive chart. That helps the whole story. Probably you need another month. You need a breakout month, and then look out. Then that just becomes a pause. What's AMT, man? I'll look. Is that American Tower? It sure is. I haven't looked at that. Why don't we do that on Tuesday? Why don't we do that? Bring that back on Tuesday. Yeah. Hojelia wants to look at silver. Silver's pretty interesting because we've got big patterns, but no confirmation. 35.49 on SLV, and that's a monthly chart, but no confirmation again. And I think silver's just following the tails of gold. And why not do a full 886? I mean, this is really, if we go X, A, B. Okay, B at a 45. What's that? That's a bat pattern. Sets it up for an 886. Recovery target at 44. From here. Got to clear out 34. So we close on the monthly chart, guys. If SLV close right where it is today, then you are in business to make that larger run. And that's going to be a big deal. Like 35 to 44 will probably be a bigger deal than 25 to 34. You really start to clear out any kind of possibility that this is just a longer term reaction retracement. You start to get close to that 886, people are going to start looking at $50 silver. Big fat round numbers. I mean, the futures, and we could go back in time. All right, the futures is an interesting chart. Because if we're going to do that full recovery, I'm going to argue that it's kind of like what you saw in 2009. All right, you had big spike move to 30, back to 17, and then you made your way back to that 886 and exploded through. I know people like to cite silver, okay, and it's been a dead asset for many years. It was dead for 10 or 15 years. Well, now it's starting to come back to life. Kind of an easy play. It's going to take a while. I hear you. Yeah. Jay Fish is asking about American Tower. Why don't you bring that back on Tuesday? I have some thoughts. I mean, why would that have a future when satellites are now taking over? Like satellites can replace everything. I don't know, but we should bring that up. Bring that up on Tuesday. Listen, guys, a couple of things before we head out. First of all, let me remind you, get over to harmonictrader.com. Okay, get the 2-week free trial. Now, next person to type in HPC30 will give you a 30-day package. Get the software for 30 days. Harmonic Trader Gold, 30 days. Check out what we do in the Discord. Probably should be a lot more starting next week. And then come to our session. So our session will be Wednesday on the 3rd. That's our strategy session for 2026. We'll follow up what we did from the 1st in January, and then look at what we're going to be planning for the future there. All right. Mr. Pulse Dent, what's up? Are you still in Pulse? Pulse Chain, you win, Pulse Dent. You've got to hit me up over here on the Discord. Anyone else that has any questions or you want more information on that session next week, send me a DM in the Discord, please. And if you want to get set up, even with an extra week or so on the trial, send me a note, and I'll make sure you get set up, okay? I think now's the time, and let me just say this, especially new folks, all right? Go take it to task now. I talked about this generational opportunity a year ago. And now, if we're right about what's happening, and we've been on this, just describing crypto and the markets, doing these 1618 extensions, if that's right, okay, the window of opportunity is closing now. So get with it, prepare. I think the session next week is going to help a lot of people. And if you're brand spanking new, get over to Harmonic Trader. Just become a basic member. Dive into the materials. And if you have questions, again, get over to the Discord. But look, big stuff is happening. All right. I do have some thoughts of what will happen when we get up to the 1618s. I do think, here's NASDAQ, right? NASDAQ, massive 1618 extension. That's the plan. All right. But that also gives us an ideal profit objective where, by the time people are jumping on the massive bandwagon, I'm going to say we're going to be close to being done for the move. It's like this. And I will I'll pick up from here on Tuesday, but I'll leave you with this. We're here, guys. We've nailed the retracement phase. That was what we talked about January. We're looking for this 1618 expansion. That's like 26-ish, 26.5-ish. And then we would look for yet another retracement, deep one, and then go. This is what we'll talk about next week. I'll kind of preference it on Tuesday. But just so you understand where we are in the process, we're more than halfway through. I expect the follow through up to that target to be aggressive. And then by the time people truly wake up and say, hey, man, this market's really raging, we're going to be almost at target. If it's crypto, if it's stocks, whatever, that's what's shaping up. So let's get to that on Tuesday. Again, you have any questions, send me a note over in the Discord and get over to Harmonic Trader. Nice. Paris, I hope you're doing great, man. Hope you can join us next week. Everyone else, you know where to get me. Until then, have a great one, great weekend. Until next time, guys, as always, go get 'em.